My entitled boyfriend stole my card to buy his dream car and told me a good girlfriend would just shut up and accept it. So I had him arrested at the dealership and left his family completely bankrupt. AITA. I, 26 female, had been with Julian, 27 male, for 3 years. Julian was a textbook narcissist who believed the universe owed him a billionaire lifestyle. The problem? He was completely broke. He lived with a parasite mentality, coddled by his middle-class parents, who convinced him he was too highly gifted to work a regular 9-to-5. When we met, I was a drowning medical resident, working 8 zero-hour weeks and living on instant coffee. Julian worked a basic sales job, but quit after 2 months because his boss had the audacity to ask him to clock in on time. He moved into my cramped apartment and became a permanent couch potato, expecting me to pay for his artisanal protein powders and video games. Then, my life changed overnight. My grandfather passed away and left me a massive, multi-million-dollar commercial real estate portfolio. I went from checking my bank balance before buying a bagel to being independently wealthy. Julian didn't see this as my success. He saw it as his lottery win. He immediately demanded we move into a $10,000 a month luxury penthouse, which I foolishly paid for. To keep him afloat, I gave him an authorized user credit card under my account. However, I am a doctor, not an idiot. I made him sign a legally binding notarized contract stating that the card was strictly for groceries and emergencies, and any single purchase over $200 required my explicit written signature. The ultimate betrayal happened last Friday. I was in the middle of an intense, high-stress, 4-hour shift at the hospital when my phone started vibrating violently in my scrubs. It was an avalanche of high-priority fraud alerts. Alert: charge of $145,000 at Apex Exotic Motorsports. Approved. My vision went blurry. I checked the banking app. Julian had just used my card to buy a top-of-the-line, custom-ordered Porsche 911 Carrera. I ducked into an empty hospital supply closet and called him, my chest heaving with pure rage. He answered on the second ring, loud techno music blasting in the background. "Hey, rich girl!" Julian shouted over the music, laughing like a maniac. "I knew you'd get the notification. She's beautiful, babe. Emerald green, carbon fiber trim. I'm literally signing the final paperwork at the dealership right now. Julian, breathe very carefully before you speak next," I said, my voice shaking with a terrifying calmness. "Cancel the transaction. Walk out of that dealership right now, or I swear to God I will end you." Julian scoffed, his tone instantly shifting into that patronizing, gaslighting voice I had grown to despise. "Oh, don't be a psycho, babe. Your grandpa left you millions. $145K is literally pocket change to you. A good, supportive girlfriend would want her man to look like a boss. I'm building our family image. You should be thanking me for upgrading our lifestyle. You signed a contract, Julian. That is grand theft. Good luck proving that to the cops, sweetheart," he sneered. "I'm an authorized user. Legally, your money is my money. I'm driving my new toy home now. Have a fun shift." He hung up. He thought he was a mastermind. He thought he had trapped me using a legal loophole. What he didn't realize was that I don't just tolerate disrespect, I eradicate it. I didn't call the bank to cancel the charge. If I canceled it, the dealership would just take the keys back. Julian would walk away with a bruised ego, and his parents would enable him again. No, I wanted him in chains. I called my personal corporate attorney. Within 10 minutes, he had faxed the notarized restrictive covenant Julian signed directly to the Grand Theft Auto division of the police department. Because Julian had explicitly signed a contract limiting his authorization to $200, bypassing it to spend $145,000 wasn't just a breach of contract. It was a felony-level fraudulent use of a financial device. I left the hospital, called the police, and told them exactly where the target was. Instead of waiting at home, I drove straight to the luxury exotic dealership. I pulled up just in time to see Julian stepping out of the glass showroom doors. He was wearing a designer silk shirt, which he had also charged to my card, and holding a glass of complimentary champagne, getting ready to film a TikTok video with my Porsche. Before he could even unlock the car, 4 police cruisers tore into the dealership lot, tires screeching, completely boxing the Porsche in. Julian froze, dropping his champagne glass. It shattered on the asphalt. Officers jumped out with their hands on their service weapons, screaming at him to get on the ground. Wait, there's a mistake. My girlfriend bought this for me. She's a millionaire." Julian shrieked, his voice cracking as he was slammed face first onto the hood of the brand new car. I stepped out of my SUV and walked over, looking down at him. The sheer terror in his eyes was intoxicating. "Babe, tell them it's a gift," he sobbed, his nose bleeding slightly from hitting the hood. I looked at the arresting sergeant. He does not have permission. He stole my financial identity, violated a legal mandate, and obtained this vehicle through grand fraud. Arrest him. And I will be hiring the most ruthless prosecutors in the state to ensure he gets maximum prison time. As they stuffed him into the back of the cruiser, his designer shirt torn and covered in dirt, I knew the game was only half over. While Julian was being processed at the precinct, I drove to our penthouse. I called a professional junk removal service. I didn't just pack his clothes. I told the movers to take everything that belonged to him, his expensive sneakers, his $4,000 gaming rig, his childhood memorabilia, his golf clubs, and throw them straight into the industrial crushing mechanism of the garbage truck right outside the building. I watched his entire life get pulverized into dust. Then, I changed the penthouse locks and revoked his building access. An hour later, my phone rang. It was his mother, Karen, screaming so loudly I had to hold the phone away from my ear. "You evil, heartless snake. You put my boy in a holding cell? It's just a car. You have millions, you greedy brat. You ruined his life." "No, Karen," I replied coldly. "Julian ruined his own life, and now he's going to ruin yours. His bail is set at $50,000 cash. Have fun finding that." To pay his massive bail and hire a defense lawyer, Julian's parents had to take out a predatory, high-interest second mortgage on their family home and liquidate their retirement accounts. They spent every single penny they had to save their golden boy. But my legal team was unstoppable, because the evidence was a literal signed contract and a time-stamped bank notification. The district attorney refused to drop the charges. To avoid a 10-year prison sentence for felony grand larceny, Julian was forced to take a humiliating plea deal. He pleaded guilty to felony financial fraud. He avoided prison but was sentenced to 5 years of intense probation, 1,000 hours of community service picking up trash on the highway, and a permanent, unexpungible felony record. Because of the felony, Julian was instantly fired from his new job and is completely blacklisted from any reputable industry. He is now 27 years old, entirely broke, and forced to live in his parents' basement. But it gets better. His parents are now completely bankrupt from the legal fees and bail. They can't afford the second mortgage payments. Last week, their house was officially put up for foreclosure. They are losing the only home they've ever owned because they enabled their son's greed. Julian wanted to drive a luxury supercar to feel like a god. Now, he rides a rusty bicycle to his minimum wage night shift at a warehouse, and his family is ruined. Text on screen. Was the revenge justified, or did I destroy an entire family for a car?
Has anything like this ever happened to you? Tell your story in the comments. If you want more daily Reddit stories just like this, make sure to follow and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what subreddit I should cover next in the comments. Stay tuned for the next story. Peace.